I came from immigrant parents. We had more like survival mindset. There was a point in my life like it was either like art career or like I will just be like a loser.
So much for joining. Absolutely thrilled to have you for the in-person interview.
Thank you for the
That
opportunity.
sounds great. And I wanted to start off with a little like bold and straightforward question. So like by looking at most of your artworks, it feels as if like the light is like a special participant of like, the
Yeah.
paintings. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I guess I was very interested by photography when I start to like get more serious into art because I always wanted to like have the best reference to draw. So I kind of like have to learn how to photograph my own reference. So I started playing with lights and my camera and things. And sometimes when I was traveling, I didn't have all my setups and my lights, and I just used like the lights of the city, and I kind of like the vibe of the city at night, and it feels like the city is like at night it's another world, I would say. Yeah.
Interesting. So you said you made a transition from like photography to the art, or was it like where it all?
Okay. First, I was more into drawing, but as I was yearning to uh, like be more better at drawing, I had to be better at like drawing my own reference and telling my own story, because like the technical skill is like one part, but what you're gonna tell to people is another one. So I feel like I need like to tell my own story, so that's why I also like deviate to photography. Um, it's like very like both are like very similar and different at the same time, and it all complement each other, I would say. So yeah.
And how do you find who you like? Because in the, like looking at most of your paintings, you have like a lot of like women, but it also looks like a scenes from the city. So
Yeah.
is that fictional characters or like an actual?
No, the most of the characters I know them.
Oh,
They are my friends, or maybe sometimes there are some models I hire. Yeah, it's never from imagination, because my imagination just sucks. Like it's so bad. Yeah.
no, I mean, it looks so
Yeah.
beautiful. And could you talk a little bit like, so was art always in your life, or did you like decide to become an artist? I know when you were a kid, when you were like a teenager, like how did this transition happen?
I came from immigrant parents, so art education wasn't like a thing in our family because we had more like a survival mindset, I would say. So I didn't have any like art education or teacher. I didn't go to exhibition. I was like, I would say when I was a kid, I was a bad student. I would never listen to a teacher, and I would always like draw on my notebook or things like this. One day I had like a art contest when I was like 7. Like we went outside to do like to draw a tree outside, and they vote for like the best drawing, and it was mine. No, it was not mine. It was I was second. But the first one was like a guy who I think had like art education, so I could see like the difference between me and him. So that was interesting, I would say. And since this competition, I would say I really like drawing because I felt like I had something that no one else had. It was good for me, but I didn't really like pursue my art education when I was a kid because my parents couldn't afford it. Or even when I had my when I was 18, I wanted to do like an art school, but my parents they weren't like let me do it because they would say like it's like a job that will not like be like good financially for you. So it's the immigrant mindset a bit. So yeah, I start art school at 22 years old, and it's because I was very bad at like my license in psychology, and I was always drawing. I was like, there's only one thing I can do is drawing, so I might as well like do this or do nothing, in my life. So
That's so funny. So wait, and when you decided to get the art education and you were like, committed to this is going to be like my profession, what pushed you to this? Because, to your point, coming from the immigrant family and like, it's hard to make a living as an artist.
Yeah.
Like, was it just like, you're like, okay, I don't know what else I can do, or I just like believe in myself so much that this is like what I'm committing to?
Yeah, I feel like there was a point in my life, like it was either like art career or like I will just be like a loser. For like 1 year, I was drawing like every day, like to practice my skill. I learned a lot in 1 year, and then I showed them I had like skills, and then I applied to art school, and I showed my portfolio, and they were really happy. So yeah.
Are
I
they
guess it
proud
works.
now?
Yeah,
It seems working perfectly. Are they proud now? They're like seeing that it works for you as a career.
yeah, they are like
They
proud
are.
of me. Yeah.
And do you remember the artist that you were inspired by when you were like studying or now?
Yeah. So there was like a art channel on YouTube, the portrait art. It's a Chinese dude who like only draw portrait with charcoal, and I was like mesmerized by like how he start from like just powder to like a full render face.
The drawing is fascinating. That's so true. And how do you find like a subject for your work? Like, do you already have in mind what you want to create, or more like in the moment you see the scene, you're like, okay, this is like beautiful. This is what I'm gonna go with.
I actually like watching movies a lot, and when I like find a really good scene, like composition, I would like screenshot a lot, and then I would have like a file with like so many reference from movies I have, and then I just make like a mood board. Like I want this kind of scene, like in the metro, in the car, which kind of light, backlit, not backlit, and then I just like set up everything, and then when I travel to like cities like Paris, for example, I like to like ask a friend or model if they are available for this shoot, and I show the mood board, and then we just like dig into it.
Ah, that's so. And what kind of movies you like to watch? Do you have like a favorite directors or like recent movies probably that you saw and you find?
I like Wong Kar Wai lately with Chinese cinematography. I like how he filmed the colors, how he tells story. I also like La La Land, the movie. Like it's really like painterly, and the colors are amazing. The storytelling is so good. There's many like movie like this, or I usually go for like a melancholic movie. I like this kind of vibes, so he reflects a lot in my work as well. And lately, I was watching the movie Her by
Her. Oh.
Her. Yeah, by I feel like this movie was like so me, so like damn, yeah.
It's like about where the guy falls in love with the AI voice or something.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Siri.
Could you relate? You're like, okay.
Yeah, no, but it was like because I live like not in the big city, so I'm most of the time alone, and I have like a long distance relationship with my girlfriend also. So when I saw this movie, I was like, oh my god, like I'm alone. This only screens in my life, and yeah, so it was like kind of bit like
Oh, wow.
reflecting to me. Yeah.
So that's very interesting you touch upon. So, okay, I mean, I won't be going that personally about your relationships, but like,
Yeah.
the artist life can be the life of an artist, like quiet, maybe not as elating, but like lonely in the way, right? So, because you're
Yeah.
yourself in the studio. So, could you walk me a little bit like through how your day look like? Do you by yourself most of the time? Do you go, because I'm seeing you going to museums, right? Sometimes like to do sketches,
Yeah.
things like that. So, how does your day look like?
How does my day looks like? I woke up and I start like looking at my phones and looking like social media. I would say like everything that's happening like in the world. Go on Twitter first for like the news around the world, and then later I go to Instagram because my Instagram is just like pictures or videos of artists getting like inspired. I need like this little push, like in the morning, so I can like feel motivated to go. And then I worked for like maybe 2 to 6 hours, I would say. And then I just take a break at night, and yeah, I feel like I need to be like inspired to draw. Like for me, like drawing for drawing is like useless. Like, and sometimes like the best way to improve is not to draw. Actually, like it's like go outside, go museum, go see some exhibition, go see some friends, go see some movies. You know, like because what you draw, it's what's like coming from your life.
That's an interesting perspective. So when you go, when you feel like, if you ever feel like stuck or maybe run out of inspiration, what would be your first go-to spot? Is it like a museum, nature, seeing friends? Like, what is it for you?
Watching artists on like any platform, that will be my first inspiration. And after that, I like to watch movies, and then I like to go outside. But since I live like very like far from city, it's hard to do it sometimes. So most of the time I'm like more alone, I would say. So it's more like movies or like watching artists. So yeah, it's kind of a lonely life, I would say. But when I can, I absolutely want to like travel more and see more people and more exhibition.
Huh.
Yeah.
What's your go-to destinations that you cannot wait to see and then the travel?
Oh, I think it's like Tokyo or Hong Kong. I've never been there, so I feel like the city is very beautiful with like all the lights and the ads and how crowded is the city. Like,
Wow. It's so funny because I think like in most of your like paintings, so looking at them, it does have an impression as if it's like made in the big cities, you know, like in the
yeah, yeah.
somewhere on the, you know, on the go, and yet you're
No, most of them are just made in Paris actually, because this is where I live, the country where I live, and so it's easier to go there. But I don't like Paris more lately because the lights are very like yellow, just yellow light everywhere, and it's a bit like unique city, I would say. So it's not like very modern. It has a different vibe, you know. And the vibes I want to achieve is not really from Paris, I would say. So
and what are your favorite color of the lights? You say you don't like yellow, because I would think that yellow is very like cozy and, you know, like a warming.
okay, I like yellow, but like more on the reddish side, so more like maybe orange, sunset like. My favorite color would be like some bluish or greenish light, I would say. I really like the feeling of this melancholic vibe into it. I don't know how to describe it. I just feel it.
That, yeah, like that's what I was thinking. Like the darker, like on the cooler side, the lights are there like lyrical and melancholic.
Yeah, yeah. The warmer side, it's more like cozy and like lovely, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, depends on what I want to achieve, I would say. But like lately, I'm more into greenish blue. Yeah.
Wow. And it's really hard too, because I'm like, when I'm looking at like, it's really hard to picture someone in a beautiful way with the lights like blue or green, because I think it tends to create this like sometimes uncomplimenting shades, but you do it like so beautifully that I'm like, wow, it's
Okay,
really...
I cheat a bit because I try to do like monochrome composition, I would say. So it's more like fully green or fully yellow, fully blue. So you know, when you add a tint, like one tint to every color, it just harmonized very well, I would say. So I don't like having so many colors around the place, so it's very distracting for me. So yeah, I have like one like overall color, I would say. So it just really harmonized very well, I would say, like this.
Okay.
This is how I do it, I would say.
Monochrome is the key. Like, that's good to know, because you know how you usually say you got to look beautiful in the space. And I wanted to talk a little bit with you about beauty, right? So what would you say beauty is for you? Could be in life, in art, just, you know.
Beauty. That's an interesting question. First, I would say, obviously, I feel the models plays a lot, I would say. Having like an attractive person is like more pleasing to the eyes, obviously, I would say. So this is one part, I would say. When I see a scene, it's about like the lights, I would say, like how it makes you feel, you know, in the room. You are here, like what do you feel, you know? If there's too many light, it's overwhelming, but if they like maybe just one spot, one sunset light, you know, it's a different feeling. And after this, I would say like when I see good composition with my eyes, I don't know, like sometimes it just naturally very ordered, very well placed. Every shapes are very like very good placed, and yeah, it's a good.
That's
So yeah,
that's good an explanation. So it's a composition, it's a feeling,
yeah.
and it's like something that you find aesthetically pleasing. Well, like,
Also, what I like about what I can consider beauty is like some nostalgic or like nostalgic feeling, or kind of feel like a memory. Like I want my art to look like a screenshot of my life. So I want like to freeze the time. So every tools that can freeze the time, such as photography, drawing, painting, like all the process, like film photography, Polaroid, like all this nostalgic feeling and object. This is beauty for me. Yeah.
nostalgic feeling. And what you mean, nostalgia is so different for everyone. So when you think that saying nostalgic, like what do have nostalgia about? The times you have never lived in, or your childhood, or
Lately, I would say when I was an art student, I used to live like far from school, so I used to like use commute a lot to go from my house to the school, and I like this like alone time in the commute, like passing by and seeing all the kind of people like passing by me, and like it's kind of like you can see like all people having their own stories, the scenes moving by itself in the commute, and I kind of feel like it's poetic, in some ways. So that's why I really like drawing lately, like in metro or a car, because like there's like this passing time feeling, I would say, and movement.
the concept of the travel. That's very
Yes,
true. Yeah, that's very very romantic and like.
I know when I was like a kid, I used to like my parents used to travel a lot with the car. So I like watching, like when I was a kid, watching through the window, like the passing time, passing cars, and this really like inspires me a lot. Yeah, this is like
That explains a lot.
this is very nostalgic for me. Like
Yeah.
this moment. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's usually to read and like going through many of your works that this like
Yeah.
concept of the travel, the lights, that
Yeah.
on the go thing. That's very true. I want to talk a little bit also with you about the contemporary art scene, right? It's very like vague in a way, concept, but by looking now at the contemporary art, I feel like a lot of people they get confused because you like, there's artists like you whose art is like beautiful. It's like, the technique and everything. And then there's like Banana. I don't know, have you seen or not?
Oh, the banana tape. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, what do you think about this like whole movement that's happening in the art world? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not really into it, I would say, but like I think it's part of the game. So uh, it's just about like trend things, or like catching most people's eyes or attention. I think this is most what art is about lately. If you can have like many reactions, it's art for the artwork. So yeah, I would say like everyone has a chance now to be artist, but obviously like, it's not like the standard as it used to be before. Before it was very technical and things, but now it's really like you can do like everything you want. So I guess like it's a chance for everyone, but also like it can like cast a shadow on like some good artists, because they are not like into like pleasing the crowd or something like that. So it's harder for some artists too. So yeah, you have to find a good balance, I would say. So yeah, these are pro and cons, I would say. Like,
And what about like your works? Do you have like this say like long-term vision or something? What do you want them to be in?
oh yeah, I had
Yeah.
like when I was a kid, I was fascinated by like animation movies, and I always wanted my story, like my work to tell a story, So like having like good drawing that is something, or paintings or photos. But now I want things to move a bit, so I want to get more into animation, I would say.
Huh.
But uh, with like keeping my art style too. So it's kind of like a buff of technique. I would try to use like video and drawing and photos. So I would try to like tell a good story, but like visually, you can just like sit and watch like for like an hour. You know, it's just moving and continually like. I cannot talk more about it, but yeah, it's
Well, it's
yeah.
intriguing enough. I'm like, it sounds like there is like a moving movie, something like that, like the animation concept. That sounds.
Yeah, more like animation. Like I like people who like do traditional animation, like you know, with many page of drawings, and
Yeah.
they just like flip the work, and then it just create life, you know. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's crazy, but it's always like in a kind of illustration style that I see this. So I want to be more like in like realistic style. So
I can sense that there's just like an immersive experience coming with like your
yeah,
work,
yeah,
like audio. That would be amazing. That sounds
yeah.
so good. I'd love it very much. Well, I probably would want to conclude with the question of like, what would you say? It's very wide, but yet, what would you say keep you going as an artist, as a human, like in doing what you do? What is it for you?
I guess just like tell a story, like just tell a story, like about my life and what's happening around the world. Like I just want people like to see me as how I am really, like beside my physical appearance, like what's inside me. And yeah.